All right, guys. So I'm starting a mini Rams segment for you guys. I wanted to basically discuss the players that the Rams are meeting with. And, now at times we're going to be figuring out who is going to be taking those top 30 visits. We don't always find out that list, but for the guys that are getting leaked, I'm going to do a video just kind of giving you an idea. And we're going to start off this first one. A player I really like, a player I really, want to see in Horns. Jaren Hall out of BYU. I think when you look at Jaren Hall and what he can do, first off, he's my QB5. He's somebody that's a dynamic dual threat quarterback, kind of similar to Jalen Hurts his rookie year. That's actually my comparison to him, like where he's at as far as, what he's capable of. A quick decision maker. He's somebody that I feel like his athleticism is very dangerous, but the thing about him is that he wants to use his arm more than he wants to use his legs. He wants to use his legs to, set up the pass. And, a thing when I watch the tape with Jaren Hall is this is a guy that wants to set his feet. This is a guy that wants to make some moves, have his pocket mobility take off for him and then put himself in position to succeed. So that's what you're getting with Jaren Hall. He's going through half field progressions on tape. He's not a guy making full field reads. He's not yet, I wouldn't say he's confident enough to make those reads yet. So if you're looking for a starting NFL quarterback, that's not Jaren Hall, and that's exactly why the Rams would be interested. It's why he makes sense for the Rams. He's a developmental guy, but I think he's further along the curve than he's given credit for. He excels at hitting the back shoulder fade. I mean, he throws that with pure accuracy. You watch it on tape. It's honestly just incredible how well he can throw the ball when his best is required. If he has to make that 3rd and 1 and they go deep down the field and he has to make that back shoulder fade count, he's going to make it count. He's going to put it right on the money. So I think he's got a good enough arm for the NFL, not an elite arm, and I think that will cause him to fall down the board a little bit. I thought his placement when he has time is just absolutely fantastic. When he's able to step into his throw, he's got fantastic ball placement. He's more pinpoint accurate than generally accurate, which is something that I very much look for in quarterbacks if I'm going to draft him. And I feel like his floor is higher than people are giving credit. He didn't turn over the ball much at BYU. And, he is a guy that could be a real franchise quarterback if given the opportunity. And when I look at Sean McVay, what he did with Baker Mayfield, he's got kind of a similar skill set to Baker Mayfield. Although I would say he's a little bit more athletic, actually a lot more athletic, but he plays that same type of style. So I think he's going to translate to the NFL. And if he goes into a Sean McVay offense, I think now you're cooking with gas. So this is somebody, in case you didn't know, he's a 2-year starter at BYU. He took over after Zach Wilson went into the NFL draft, and he had a 63.9 completion percentage. I don't look too much into stats, but I still think stats are worth bringing up. They're not everything in college, but they're worth bringing up. He had 5,754 passing yards, 51 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He ran for 6 touchdowns and 653 yards. So when I'm watching Jaren Hall, I'm seeing a guy who I would pick on day 2 based on talent. Doesn't matter what team I'm on or who I'm drafting for. He's a day 2 talent, okay? Whether that's the 3rd round, 2nd round, doesn't really matter. He's a day 2 talent. But I think he's going to go on day 3. He didn't have a great Senior Bowl. So I think he's going to drop, and I think he falls right in that 5th round mix. Before we get too much into it, just remember last year, everyone was talking about Malik Willis. Is he going to go in the 1st round? How high in the 1st round is he going to go? So it became that, and then all of a sudden he fell to the 3rd, right? We saw a significant drop with quarterbacks last year, guys falling way out of the 1st round, right? You don't see that many quarterbacks outside of, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, who I don't even think is a 1st rounder. Those are the 1st rounders that are going to go in the 1st round. I'm not buying what they're selling with Hendon Hooker. Who is my QB4? Hooker's going to go on day 2. He's going to go early in the 2nd round. I don't think he's going to be a 1st round pick. There's no need for him to be a 1st round pick because I think you can get him in the 2nd. He's coming off a torn ACL. He is 25. Those are variables that could get him to fall. Jaren Hall, on the other hand, he's not old and he's not coming off a serious injury, but he wasn't great at the Senior Bowl. And I feel like teams are going to hold that against him. And I think teams are going to hold it against him that he's not, the biggest quarterback, right? And that he's not making full field reads. And I think at the end of the day, if he falls into the day 3 section, even if it's the 4th round, I think the Rams consider a trade up. They've met with him multiple times. And I think if it's in the 5th round with 3 5th-round picks, I think he's a Ram. And at the end of the day, I haven't put out my Rams mock draft yet, but I have him going to the Rams. I think this is going to be either your backup or your third string guy that you're developing. Because at the end of the day, I think he brings everything to the table that Sean McVay and what a coach is looking for in the modern day in the NFL out of a quarterback. Do you have pocket mobility? Can you run, though? See, pocket mobility and just flat out scrambling, they're two different things, okay? Pocket mobility is how well you move throughout the pocket. It's not necessarily running around the pocket. It's just those subtle movements, right? When you're scrambling, now you're running the ball. You're carrying the ball. That's different. So what I look for in a modern day quarterback is what you're getting: mobility in the pocket, mobility outside the pocket, being able to keep your eyes upfield. If you're running, as soon as you drop your eyes, now everyone knows that you're a runner. You've given it up. You're not going to throw down the field. And if you do try to throw down the field, it's really hard to pick up your eyes and then try to read the field again. So keeping your eyes up, mobile, you can run, but you don't get careless. But you can also make those back shoulder throws. You're not afraid to make the deep throw down the field. You don't have a cannon for an arm, but you have a good enough arm. I don't need a cannon. I just need accuracy. I need an arm that's good enough for the NFL, right? So he's got those things. This is not a guy who you look at and is necessarily they're drafting to be their franchise quarterback to take over for Stafford. This is a guy where you're using the term he could become the Rams franchise quarterback and take over for Stafford, right? But he's not there yet. And if you had to throw him in there in the fire, I would like to think his ability to use his legs to create space so he can throw on platform, I would say it could get him by a game or two. But as of right now, I think the Rams are really interested because he brings everything to the table that you're looking for in a modern day quarterback. Now, he's similar to what they had in John Wolford, and he's similar to Baker Mayfield. I think he's more athletic than both. And I think the ball placement is what gets me excited. He's not great throwing off platform. That's something that might surprise people. Well, he's a running quarterback. How can you not throw off platform? Believe it or not, Lamar Jackson has this issue. It's not an end-all be-all, right? It's not a make or break. But I think at the end of the day, this is a very good fit for the LA Rams. He fits their offense. He can do exactly what they wanted out of Baker, and you can develop him. And I think this is somebody, he spends a year or two behind somebody, and now you're talking, okay, 5th-round picks, so not a lot of pressure on the guy. That's another thing. The problem that people are making is they're looking at the helmet. They're looking at the Y. They're like, okay, BYU, oh, Zach Wilson, Jaren Hall. It's not both of them, okay? It's Jaren Hall. He's writing his story. This is his story. We don't need to compare him to Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson was thrown into the fire. Zach Wilson was the 2nd overall pick. Jaren Hall is not a 2nd overall pick, okay? He's probably going to go in the 5th round. And if he goes in the 5th round, pressure's off, okay? In addition to that, he doesn't have to start right away. He's not taking over a franchise. He's got Stafford. He doesn't turn the ball over. That matters to me. He threw 11 interceptions. Will Levis threw 14 this past year alone. He threw 11 in the last 2 years total. And he's throwing down the field. He's not dinking and dunking. I don't think Jaren Hall's getting enough respect in this draft circuit. But I don't think he's getting enough respect from draftniks, from fans, right? That doesn't mean the league doesn't see him. And if the Rams are interested, that makes sense. I've been linking them to them for a while. I still think they should go out and maybe sign Carson Wentz to be their backup, to kind of take the load off of Jaren Hall there. Just let him truly have a red-shirted season where the whole year he's working to help them. Another thing, by having Jaren Hall, you only have one quarterback on the roster, okay? Bryce Perkins and John Wolford were running that scout team. They were able to kind of simulate, in practice, going against a mobile quarterback. If you had Jaren Hall to the mix, he's a mobile quarterback, okay? He's going to simulate that. And I think that's important when you have Kyler Murray in your division. He might not play until, he might only play one game against the Rams. We don't know how the schedule's going to look. He might even miss both. He's not going to come back until halfway through the year. You have to play him. Trey Lance, potentially. Brock Purdy, guys that can make, Geno Smith, guys that can go on the move. I think it's smart. I think it's definitely smart to have this guy. I know there are other guys that are looking at, and I'll get to those as well in another video, but I'm just going to focus on one player in each video, kind of give you guys an idea if you're not really familiar with, Jaren Hall. I really like him. I'm not saying he'll be, I'm not saying he's going to be Jalen Hurts, but I'm saying that he's identical to rookie year Jalen Hurts. And that's not a knock on Jalen Hurts. He was not bad his rookie year. I'm saying there's stuff to work with there, right? So I think the perfect scenario right now for the Rams, stop thinking about 2024 right now, okay? Focus on right now. You need to field a quarterback room. You only have one quarterback on the roster. In a perfect world, they go out, they sign Carson Wentz to be their backup. $2 million a year, whatever. Sign to a 1-year prove-it deal, have him back up Stafford. He got released, and there hasn't been much of a market for him. So bring him in. Then when you have Wentz as your backup, then you go out and you sign Ben DiNucci out of the XFL. And then you draft Jaren Hall. Jaren Hall is now the fourth guy, and if he shows you enough, then you can either trade Ben DiNucci if anybody's interested, or you can cut him outright. Or if Ben DiNucci outplays Carson Wentz, you got your backup. Or if Jaren Hall's better than everybody, then he's your backup. But the point is, I think it's smart to fill this quarterback room, not make Jaren Hall too uncomfortable, not put too much pressure on him. A fifth rounder, I think, is exactly where he needs to go. I think it's a good spot. There's not too much pressure, and I think he'd be a really good addition for the Rams. So that's what I have. We'll get to other guys as well. I know they met with Clayton Tune. Aiden O'Connell, I think, is another. So we'll have other videos on that. But this is going to be like a mini series. I don't expect to go too crazy with these, but they did meet with Jaren Hall multiple times, not just the pro day, but also, they had a private visit with him or a private meeting, as reported. So those are my thoughts on Jaren Hall. I'd get into film breakdown, but I honestly can't afford to have any of my content demonetized by Exos. Thank you guys. You guys are freaking awesome. Not. But anyway, those are my thoughts. So let me know in the comment section below. Do you want Jaren Hall to be a Ram? Do you like Jaren Hall? What are your issues with him? If you have any, let me know. Drop below. I'll see you guys soon. Later, folks.